This is Jeff Baraka for Planet Boom. This is part 2 of a 3-part conversation with music genius Thomas Dolby. We caught up with him on a fall day in Chicago during the North American leg of his Invisible Lighthouse tour. Here in part 2, we talk about technology, music making, and storytelling. How has your imagination been able to capitalize on advancements in technology?
Well, I see advancements in technology as an invitation to extend myself creatively.
Sure.
There's a sort of, when a new technology becomes available at a lower price point, it opens things up, because now instead of needing funding and therefore getting something approved, getting a script, through a committee or something like that, you can just be spontaneous and go out and do stuff yourself. I mean, the same thing happened in music, 20 years ago or so, when instead of needing a record deal in a professional studio, you could just do stuff in your back room and put it on the internet.
Exactly.
So that spontaneity is starting to happen in filmmaking as well. But there's this sort of cusp period where people haven't really figured out what to do with it. They start out trying to make sort of 90-minute zombie features, and so on. But you realize over time that it doesn't have to be that way. It can actually be simple personal stories that get told. That they don't have to have high production values, but it's the personality, the individuality of the story that makes it resonate with audiences. And so the kind of films that will get made over time will be very personal, very intimate, like mine.
Talk about, we hear this word, transmedia, transmedia storytelling. Talk about what exactly that is and how you applied it to this particular story.
Transmedia is just a 21st century way of saying multimedia, really. When you come and see my show, The Invisible Lighthouse, you see the film projected, but also on stage you've got narration, songs, score, live Foley sound effects, programmed lights, smoke machines, revolving beacons representing the lighthouse. There's a lot of stuff going on there. And it's a little bit different every night, so the performance of it is not the way it would be if we just canned it and put it on the film.
Gotcha.
The audience feels like they're in the moment.
Just to clarify, okay, Invisible Lighthouse is the tour. Map of the Floating City is the album.
That's my current album, yeah.
But then there's an Invisible Lighthouse soundtrack.
No. The Invisible Lighthouse may eventually come out as a commercial download or a DVD or something like that, but I'm not ready for that yet.
Okay.
It's still evolving.
And exactly, when the advanced version that I saw, it said it was a work in progress. So I'm curious, at what point do you think it will be unveiled officially, so to speak? I didn't share the link.
Sure. Well, I mean, that's hard to say, because when I started the film, I didn't know what the fate of the lighthouse was going to be.
Sure.
They said that it was going to be closed, but they wouldn't give me a date.
Gotcha.
And so what I tried to do with the authorities that control the ex-military island that the lighthouse is on.
The Ministry of Defense?
Yeah, the Ministry of Defense and the National Trust and Trinity House, which is the actual sort of governing body for the lighthouses themselves. I tried to get them to tell me when it was going to close and to give me access to the album so I could make to the island, so I could make my film.
Sure.
But they were very evasive about it. The Ministry of Defense said, look, there's unexploded bombs out there. You can't just go wandering around. And the National Trust said, there are rare botanical weeds and sea cabbages growing out there, so don't tread on those. And Trinity House more or less sabotaged my whole effort. So I took the law into my own hands, and I got an inflatable speedboat.
He's a rebel, can't be stopped.
And I mounted a clandestine commando raid on the island at dawn, and I dodged the docents, dodging behind gorse bushes, and I had my quadricopter and my spy cameras going, and I just filmed my time on the island, and this was, without getting the correct permissions. And again, this is something that you can do because the kit is cheap and light, and because I don't need a whole film crew to take with me. It was just me and a bunch of spy cameras.
Okay, so basically then, we're still waiting to see how this whole thing ends up.
Yeah.